Meryl Streep and I went back to our mutual alma mater, Yale University, to the place where she learned the craft of acting and became the most celebrated graduate of its prestigious school of drama. In one of her old classrooms, she traded war stories with the soon-to-graduate students.
Do they still have evaluations here where they line you up one after the other?
No. What was that?
They would come in this room and they'd line all the actors up in each class, and the faculty, one by one, critiques you.
What was the meanest thing somebody said about you?
This was a teacher, married, who asked me out the first week of school. And I didn't go out with him. One of my classmates did. And they ran off and got married. But during that year, he was very hard on me. He told me I was cold and unfeeling and couldn't cry. So I showed him tonight.
And show him she did. Since leaving Yale, Streep has appeared in nearly 30 movies, earning the stunning total of 10 Oscar nominations in less than 20 years, ranking her with no less than Bette Davis and Sir Laurence Olivier. Our interview continued at a favorite student hangout, Frank Pepe's Pizzeria, where we tasted the sauce and the highlights of an extraordinary career. When was the last time you ate here?
1975. I was 3.
You were a hot ticket here as you were concluding your career in 1975.
Yeah, it made me really nervous. My second year, I was put on academic probation for a lack of ambition, the requisite amount. Because I'd gone into the dean and said that I was cast in too many plays. It wasn't very equitable because I was picked over and over, and there were only 12 people in my class, and I was playing the lead over and over again, and people were mad about it. And I'm greedy, but not in the extreme, and I loved my classmates, and I didn't like feeling their anger. I went to the psychiatrist here at Yale because A, it was free, and B, I was going to graduate in 4 months. But he said, don't worry about it. In 4 months, it'll never be as bad as this. It'll never be as intense. You'll be in competition with the other 200,000 members of Actors Equity. And believe me, it'll be a relief, and it was.
We all appear in plays, grammar school plays or whatever, camp plays and all that.
Yeah, my first performance, I was in a box. It was Madam X. I was a robot. And so I had no stage fright or anything. It was just the ideal way to, sort of go out in front of people for the first time.
How old were you?
5th grade. It was a wild success. We ran once.
But the obvious question is, when did you know, at what age did you know that you could do this?
Probably like my sophomore year at college. I was in a play at Vassar. My friends all came, and they all sat in the front row, and they said, man, you should do this, you're really good at this, and it felt great. I don't really like to stand up in front of people and talk, but somehow being in this play was a private thing. I mean, I think I lost consciousness in a couple of moments, and that sense of freedom, that sense of abandon, and is something that I loved.
You once told me years ago that you have a technique of keeping a secret about a character. You keep it from your co-star, you keep it from your director, it's your own private agenda. Kramer versus Kramer. You remember the secret?
Yeah.
And what was that?
Well, the secret was I never really loved him. I didn't want him to know that because it would have affected everything about the way he played his part.
Join, please.
And I don't love you anymore.
Streep won an Academy Award for her performance in 1979's Kramer versus Kramer. She won her second Oscar for Sophie's Choice, the story of a woman forced to make an impossible decision in a Nazi death camp. As you're having to choose which child you're going to sacrifice. That must have been difficult to know what to do.
Yeah, I couldn't read that scene. I read it once, I think 8 months earlier when I got the script. And I never read it again.
Because?
Because it upset me. And so I didn't think about it till we went to shoot it. And I didn't think about making a silent scream. But you know how sometimes when you have a dream and someone's in your dream, someone's chasing you and it's a dire thing that's going to happen and you need to call for help and you try and there's no sound that comes out. That was the thing that happened to me when we shot this scene. I was trying to call her and I couldn't. Nothing came out of my voice, my mouth. It's still a very upsetting scene. I mean, even to think about.
Her most recent Oscar nomination came for last year's The Bridges of Madison County, playing a classic lonely wife.
Sign of appreciation?
No, not at all. Except those are poisonous. I'm kidding. I was happy that I was, you know, nominated playing a housewife. I felt like I was holding my own for all the housewives.
It was an extraordinary achievement. And what I loved about it is that it was largely silent. Were you aware of how little you talked in that film?
Seemed to me like I was talking all the time, and with an accent, which is always, they're always lying in wait for me to have an accent.
Well, I'm thinking of, for example, a very beautiful sequence when you meet him for the first time and then you walk back to your house and you touch your skirt. Are you aware of that? Says everything, right?
It says different things to different people, you know?
All right.
What does it say to you?
To me, it says that she's excited, she feels herself. What has been a cloth is now a dress.
No, wrong. Any woman will tell you what that scene is about, but I'm not going to do it. You ask your wife.
Oh, come on.
It's about a lady with a big rear end who's walking away from someone that she likes. And she's self-conscious, and you always touch the part that you don't want anybody to look at.
Okay.
But it's the same awareness that you said. I mean, it is an awareness below the belt, maybe, that she hasn't had for a while.
I've heard you talk about sort of an emotional flexing. In other words, I'll take it in terms of athletics. It must be great to play basketball like Michael Jordan. I mean, it must actually feel good in the body to do that with your body.
But I don't think that they're great athletes are even aware of the power, and maybe they are. I don't know, because I'm not one. But it's not that aggressive a thing when you're acting right. It's the opposite. It's being susceptible to what is around you. And it's letting it all come in. Acting is a clearing away of everything except what you want and what you need. And it's wonderful in that way. When it's right, you're lost in the moment.